Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. So I just want to discuss this idea we were talking about previously. First, we were looking at this potentially as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then looking still for this fifth wave to the upside, looking for this zone here of this 32,685 to this 31,905 as a possible target area. So now this is technically still possible for us to call this fourth wave in this location. The thing that we need to have a look at here is the time difference between this wave 2 and this wave 4. So we can see here that this has actually taken up almost 4 times the time that this wave 2 did. So normally I don't like to see this cross 4. So if we actually do look to turn around from this point, potentially we could actually start to see this fifth wave develop into this higher area here. Though because it has taken so long, we need to just be aware that the probability is less likely, and we could actually still see that potential where actually we've just completed here and we just got a bigger corrective move. Now if we're looking at this as a bigger corrective move here, what we are looking for is the potential that we could see price come back down into some of these lower areas here. And what I'd be looking for ideally would be between this 28,693 to this 26,084, looking for that possibility of continuation to the upside. So if we did see this as a completed move into here and we start to see corrective structure down into these lower levels here, what I would be looking for then is whether we actually maintain this 24,800. If we manage to maintain that, potentially we could be setting up for a more bullish move here, where this either becomes we get a B wave down and we get a C wave to the upside, in which case we're looking for this 1-to-1. Now this 1-to-1 would be based off of coming down lower here into this 0.618, which would be sitting towards this 27,139. If we had to only come down higher here, potentially this could change these targets. But based off of a deeper retracement here, what I'd be looking for would effectively be the potential that we get a wave 2 here, and then we get this push to the upside here as a wave 3, possibly up towards this 39,838 level. Now that would be based off of coming down here into this golden pocket area. If we didn't, and we actually just look to turn around from where we currently are, our 1-to-1 would actually be here towards this 37,407, and then our typical third wave target would actually be up here towards this 43,307 region. So going to be keeping an eye on this. We're going to go over some of the possibilities here where we could actually be already within this B wave here, and then we're going to also talk about that possibility that we could still see a 5-wave move starting to play out from this area. Okay, so one more thing regarding the extension count here. We were arguing that this could be 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Now, it is possible within this that we could actually put this 4th wave here and look at the potential of this as a diagonal. Now, this is not my favorite way of looking at this, but what we could argue is that within here we have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And actually what we got here is a move which this 5th wave failed to actually take this 3rd wave high, which means that we could potentially be starting a move to the downside from here. So it's going to be very key here. If we fail to actually take this 31,137 level, what we need to be careful of is the potential that we could actually be starting a deeper move here with the 5-wave structure. So we're going to go over that in a bit. I just want to talk about that potential of the corrective moves first, and then we're going to go over some of those other possibilities. So if we are looking at this as a corrective move, one thing I'm just being mindful of is if we count this whole move here as a corrective structure here, where either we count this as W, X, and Y, or alternatively, what we could argue is that within here, we've had this as a flat correction, which completes into this point here, and then we've got a completed move here. Now, the reason I wouldn't like looking at it like this as A, B, and C, something like this, is because of the fact that this wave was so much shorter than our A wave. If this is the case, just in time it was very short. So because of that fact, I'm just being mindful there is potential here that until we actually take these highs, we could still see price actually drop down one more time. If however we continue to maintain this 29,500 area and we see this look to play to the upside in a 3-wave move in an A, B, and a C, what we could potentially see is the possibility of moving up back above these highs. Now, the 0.618 would be very interesting. Now, this is looking at this currently as potentially a triangle here, where we argue this is A, B, C, D, and E. Now, it is possible we could still be in one of these legs. Invalidation of this as a triangle would actually come by taking this A wave high here, or looking at taking this point here of this 30,318. If we stay in between these levels, we could actually see something developing like this, which could be a triangle for our B wave, and then we look for that C wave. Alternatively, if this is A and then we have this as some kind of a smaller triangle the other way around, what we could see is price actually push back down into this lower support region here, where this is 30,265 to this 29,762 level. So if we see price break down one more time here as A, B, C, then potentially we could see price move down here and look to target out some of these lower zones. Now, some areas of interest for me would actually be this 29,970 to this 29,330 level, because this would be looking to potentially bring us back into some of these lows that we've got here. So if we do see price actually look to break down here one more time, we could possibly look to retest these lower ranges. Alternatively, this 50% is also quite an interesting level here. You know, we have found support on this a few times, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on this 30,117 area as well. If we do push up directly here, what I'd be looking for as a one-to-one target would actually be this 31,757, which would align with bringing us back into a typical zone that we look for as a flat correction. So with an expanding flat, what we tend to see is price actually come up between these two higher levels here, which would be this 32,202 to this 31,906. If we're going to get something like this as A, B, C, and we only target out this one-to-one, potentially we could actually see a regular flat form here, where this just becomes A, we get a B wave, which comes just above this or into this A wave high, the origin of this A wave, and then actually look to push down in 5 waves. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on those two levels. If we do see price form something like a double top here, then potentially we could actually see this play out as a flat correction. In which case, if we had to see something like that, what our target would actually be this 29,364. If, however, we come up higher here and we look to target out either this 31,906 or this 32,202 level, what we could see is a 5-way move develop to the downside here, looking for this area here, this 29,771 to this 29,058 level. So gonna have to keep an eye on this to see whether we actually start to break down in something like this if we do get a continuation up here first. So this is looking for that possibility of a push up and then a push to the downside. Now there is also the potential that we could actually just see a push directly to the downside here, where this becomes W, this becomes X, and then we have this as A, B, and then we're looking for a C wave down. Now we did come down to the one-to-one of this move already, which is sitting here at this 29,716. And if we do actually see price reverse from this level and take this high, then potentially we could be in that other option. But what we could also be in with here is that this could be A, we could be forming this as a B. Now once again, the same idea would apply here. If this is A, this could be A, B, C, D, E as a triangle. We get a push up here towards this higher range here of this 31,988 to this 31,282 area. Now this would be aligned with this actually being a flat within the Y wave. So this would give us better proportion if we're looking at this as W, X, and Y, because then the time proportion between each of these legs would start to actually be quite similar. So this is why I'm just saying, you know, if we see price actually come back up here where we form this as A, B, and C, or alternatively, if we look at this as an A wave, and then we can even argue that this is a triangle from further back here where this is A, B, C, D. Now we'd be looking for an E wave to the upside. Once again, that invalidation would be crossing this 30,747 level. I wouldn't want to see it go much higher than this 30,662, though sometimes if we do have a triangle like this, when we do form an E wave, we can actually break the C wave slightly and then look to reverse to the downside. So I would be keeping an eye on this high here as well, towards this 30,663. Now, if this is the case, we can see that we've actually come up here into this golden pocket, which is these two blue lines here, this 30,646 to this 30,588 level. Now, the fact that we've come up into this zone could mean that we actually start to see a rejection to the downside here, looking for the C wave, which could look to push us down towards this 28,995, which would align with actually coming back closer towards this 1382 level of this Y wave. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price actually start to fall off here, potentially we could be looking for this 1-to-1. Alternatively, if we do see a slight push up, we get this as A, B, and C, but we don't reach those higher target levels. What we could actually see is that this could just be A, this could be B, and then we could see this play out as a C wave, still looking at this as a flat, which would slightly change the target areas if we do see something like that. Effectively, what we could see is the potential that if we do move up towards some of these higher zones here, what we could then see is the potential that if this is a irregular flat here, we could actually come back down towards this 28,844 to this 29,498 level as possible targets for this being a flat correction here. So that would align in the bigger picture here with actually coming down deeper, where we are saying that, you know, within the bullish case, we're looking for the potential of coming back down into some of these lower levels. This 382 would be ideal as a minimum. But really, typically speaking, we normally actually see a retracement down between these lower levels. So this is looking for that bullish potential where we're actually going to find support here and then actually look to rally one more time. This is going to be a key support zone if we are looking at that possibility. Now, one of the things we need to be careful of is, like I said, if we do have something like this where we've actually completed into this high over here, what we could start to do is actually break down in a bigger way. Now, I was talking about this potential, and like I said, this is sort of a secondary count here, where we have this as a 1, this is a flat for a 2, and then effectively we're setting this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. Now, this would apply, the yellow counts would still apply for the idea of us finishing into this high. So if we did see something like this play out, where we actually form this as 1, 2, and then we actually get a bigger third wave, which comes down here towards this 28,173 level. This could actually be setting us up for a bigger 5-wave move, where from further back here, what we have is this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'd get another 4th wave up and then a 5th wave to the downside. So confirmation of this count would only come by pushing down much deeper here towards this 28,173 level. But like I said, you know, we need to be careful because there is also the potential that this could just be A, B, and then we get a C wave down. Even if we do hit this 1618 level, we need to see confirmation of this 4th wave before looking for that 5th wave down again. So this is going to be key if we're looking for that possibility of a breakdown. Now, the key difference is that if we had this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here, we'd then be looking for the potential of 3 waves up and then another move to the downside. Because if we do have 5-wave structure develop, you know, this means that this can either be an A wave in this situation, or this could be a wave 1. So we'd have to be careful of that possibility of a bigger breakdown. Now, this is all going over that bigger idea here that, you know, if we are looking at this move in the idea of actually having this as a bigger WX and a Y, I'm going to come out here onto the higher time frame here. What we could actually have is that this is W, this is ABC for an X wave, and then we could either get a 3-wave move down in Y, so ABC, in which case what we'd be looking for would be a minimum of this 28,092 typically, and our 1-to-1 would actually be this 26,205, which would be looking to bring us back into the channel. Alternatively, if we do start to get impulsive structure here, where we argue that we have this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get another 4th and a 5th, something like this. Possibly what we could look for is this 1-to-1, and this could be a flat A, B, and C, where we have a running flat. Alternatively, if we hit some of these lower targets here, which would be this 25,067 to this 23,373 level, this would still align with that idea of that expanding flat that we've been talking about for a long time now. So if we get this as 1, 2, we get another 1, 2 here, start to break down again, you know, potentially we could start to extend out towards some of these lower levels here, looking for the possibility of breaking down in this bigger way. Okay, so now I want to just go over some of these naked points of control that we have in our vicinity. So we do have this little zone over here between this 28,848 to this 28,724 level. So the interesting thing about this zone to me is that we do have a daily naked point of control in here. This is also our 0.382 retracement of this entire move. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. As well as that, we do have some highs here, which could be potentially interesting. This one here towards this 28,440 could be quite an interesting level because we could potentially look to flip this into support. Alternatively, if we look to break down, we also have this one here towards this 50% retracement here, which is sitting towards this 27,930 to this 28k level. Now, as well as that, if we do see price push down deeper here, what we have is the potential that we could come down into this 27,171 to this lower range of this 26,402. So within this area here, what we have is a few daily and weekly naked points of control. So if we do see price fall back down into these levels, potentially we could look to actually retest and sweep some of these naked points of control if we are looking at that possibility of a deeper retracement here, looking to come back into this channel line. This is what I'm saying, you know, if we do move back into this channel, it's going to be quite interesting to see how we do so, because there is some potential for reversals within this zone. Okay, so now I also want to talk about the fact that if we come in back on this, what we can see here is we are actually just playing around in this little range up here. You can see that these value area lows and these value area highs are being quite well respected here. We are currently sitting back above this point of control here. So if we do see a push back to the upside, I'm just going to be keeping an eye on this 30,746. If we do move back above that, find support, potentially we could be looking for that possibility of a break to the upside. Alternatively, if we do actually start to reject from this, we could see price actually gravitate back down here towards this 30,050 level, towards this value area low. And then, you know, if we start to lose that, then potentially we're going to look to sweep this low here and possibly look to come back down into some of those lower target areas that we were talking about. Now, as well as that, if I just flip this over to a bigger range that we have over here, what we can see is that we did actually come back and retest this value area high here at this 29,490. So if we do start to reject down here and we start to push down into some of these lower levels, this 28k is going to be interesting because we do have this point of control sitting in this zone. Alternatively, that idea of coming back into the channel, we do have that value area low sitting towards this 26k region. So I'll be keeping an eye on those as time progresses here. So with the daily CPR, what we can see here is that we're actually currently underneath these central CPR lines. Now, if we do fail to actually hold this zone, potentially this could mean we actually revisit this R1 line, which is sitting here towards us 30,385. We have the R2 at this 30,179, R3 at this 30,000 level, and the R4 lower down here towards this 29,835 level. If we do, however, manage to break back above these, potentially we could see price be gravitated towards this 30,723. We have this 30,862. This one here is quite an interesting level because of these highs. This 31,062, and then this one as well as a potential swing failure up here at this 31,204 level. So I would be keeping an eye on those as price actually looks to move to the upside here. Now, what we do have here is our weekly pivot points as well. So these will only be valid until reset tomorrow morning rather. What we would then be looking for here is, you know, if we do look to retrace deeper, we do still have these central CPR lines which could offer us support at this 29,922 level. We have this 29,395 and this lower level here, this 28,839 level. So that would tie into the idea of this being some kind of an A, B, and a C to the downside, looking to retest some of these lower zones here. However, if we do look to potentially push to the upside here and we start to develop as an impulsive move here, there isn't a lot to go on saying that this is an impulse, but if we had to maintain this low of this 30,322 and see a push back above this 31,682 level, what we could then see is that this could actually be something like a 1 2 1 2. This is another 1 2 here, 3 4 5 4 5 4 5, and then pushes us up into these zones. So still going to be keeping an eye out for that possibility, but it is not looking likely by the structure that we currently have here, looking more corrective. Now, as well as that, we do have some targets up here towards this 34,536 and this higher area here towards the top of our channel, this 37,710. Obviously, these are only going to be viable until reset. Now we have the R1 sitting towards us 27,332 and the R2 sitting here towards us 24,212, R3 at 22,163 area. Now, if we come over here onto the monthly, we have actually got some new monthly CPRs printed. So we can see here that our monthly CPR, our central lines, are actually sitting here between this zone of this 29,690, this area here of this 28,896, and this area here of this 28k. So this would align with that idea of coming back down deeper here, looking for those looking for a deeper retracement effectively, where this is either W, X, and this is A, B, and C, or alternatively we start to break down in a bigger way where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, something like this. This would still align with these lower targets. However, now if we look to the upside over this month, we do have this S1 sitting at this 33k. We have the S2 sitting up here towards this 35,559, the S3 up here at this 39,635, and then as well as that, we do have this R1 sitting down towards this 26,363. We have the R2 at this 22,259, and the R3 at this 19,723 level. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these over the month, see how we react around these zones. If we start to lose these central ones, we do have the potential to retest these lower levels. If we do continue to hold these, then we do have that potential. We could see price gravitate to the upside to some of these higher levels. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.